Alright everybody, so we're switching fans on Myles. There's a couple issues that I had where we had trouble with it getting too warm, I think, and there were a couple reasons. Was I didn't wire these correctly. That was one issue. I had one fan, this fan here was pulling like it should have been, but then the left side was pushing. So, and we just had the issue on the overheating just kept coming. I mean, it's weird because it's a 4-core aluminum radiator and it would just heat soak and stay hot. But if you look at our size motors here, you know, it's kind of small. It's a nice blade design, but that's a big difference. And I think, you know, I probably should have just honestly gone with the stock fans to start with, but I didn't do it. So went ahead, let me explain what I did real quick. Let's look at this. So I found this pair of Ford fans in the trash, and I thought, well, you know, while we're trying to troubleshoot this, let's see what the issue was. So this was my solution. Still working on the AC. I'm gonna do a little video blurb while I'm waiting for the skies to clear a little bit. Wait for the grass to dry just a smidge so we can go mow. But here's what we did. I had this set of Ford fans, probably from any variety of Fords, honestly. So I stuck them in, wired them up correctly. I wired them up what I thought was correct, and I found out that the way I had the original little small fans, I had this fan pulling the air like it should, but this air was pushing it back. So I think that was one portion of the problem. But these fans are a lot bigger as well. So what we need to do, and I'm not going to be able to get it today, but I'm going to, we need to cut out this shroud. Thankfully there's like 3 welds on the top, I think, and then 2 welds on the bottom. Thankfully no welds on the side here, but I need to pull out that shroud because, as you can see, you know, that covers quite a bit of area, and we want to be able to flow as much air and cool as much of the radiator as we can. And I'm kind of theorizing that the air is kind of getting trapped here and just keeping it hot. Don't know for sure, but we're going to try to figure that out. Plus, as we're chasing down this AC issue, you know, hopefully aid with that as well. So I'm going to show you the difference in the fans. The small ones, they do their job well, but I don't think it's good for this application. So I'm going to set you here, don't go anywhere, and we'll just touch the wire here. So as you can see there, we went ahead and there was 2 options. You could get the 5 blade fan or the 7 blade fan. So we got 2. Oh no, that is a 5 blade. Okay, I meant to get the 2 7 blades. I think it's going to work fine. The picture showed 2 7 blades. That's interesting. Huh. I think this will do fine for us. But yeah, when I bought them, I thought it was 2 7 blades. Well, we'll make it work. I think the 2500s had 2 7 blades. That's weird. I just noticed that as I was talking to you. But what is nice in that radiator is that it will be a direct plug-in, and the guy who built my fan relay harness had the correct harnesses on there, and I cut into it hoping the small fans would do the trick. So in retrospect, I can see it wasn't worth trying to make those fans work. I should have spent $110 for this, or found an online one, or used one. I wanted to go brand new, just since we want to road trip the vehicle. I don't want any issues with the fans. I think this is I think this might be a China piece, but we'll see. What's it? Yeah, made in Taiwan. Okay, made in Taiwan. But anyways, we'll see if it lasts. Hopefully it does. This guy is supposed to have a decent warranty. Found it on eBay. So we're going to give it a try, see what it does. Oh, there's some more rain. Guess I don't need to go anywhere yet. So anyways, we're going to bring you more to this bear. This is like part 3 or whatever. So we got our plugs. I'm going to just put the weather pack connections on there and hook it right into the harness. My harness seems to be working fine, so make as few connections as possible, and we'll go from there. So that's my little saga on Myles. If you're going to do that swap, use whatever fan you want. You use whatever fan that works. Depending on your application, you're probably going to be better going with a stock fan setup for your vehicle, because these are even bigger than the Ford fans, which are working fine. I just don't know how old those are. I found them in the trash, and surprisingly they work, which is cool. So save that for another swap or something. But since we want to do road travel miles, I want to go with new fans. Thankfully, we'll be able to mount that to the bulkhead there. These will slip right into the radiator, and then we'll have a place for our hose mounts as well. So enough yakking. We need to get to work on it. So a couple of obstructions that are in our way. When you take our old Ford fans out, these were really good for an idea. But anyways, when you take these out, then I need to grind off 3 welds on top of this shroud. There's 3 welds on the top, 3 on the bottom. Hoping I'm not going to have to pull the radiator out, but if we have to, then that's what we'll do. So hang in there and I'll show you the progress. Alright everybody, so I tried doing the 3 welds on the top, and that seemed to work pretty well, but it was going to be a royal pain to get the 3 welds on the lower radiator. So in essence, it's really just easier to go ahead and unhook everything, drain the radiator, and just pull the radiator out. So did that. Now it's time to take the grinder and take care of our welds. So if you end up in a situation like me where you're able to score an aluminum radiator and it has this shroud on it, go ahead before you stick it in there and cut off the welds to the shroud. So we've got one here, got one there, and one there. Thankfully it's not attached in the corners, but we just need to cut these off. So I'm going to go ahead and get to work on that. So just taking you could use a Dremel on it, but it'll be easier, I think, just to go bzzz and take care of it from there. So thankfully there's some wide gaps here, and that'll kind of help. A little bit easier on this side, honestly. So, but you just don't want to make sure we don't cut into our tank there. So don't want to really have to buy a new radiator if I don't have to, but you know how the story goes. And another thing we need to do is we need to cover these ports. I just thought about that, because we're going to have aluminum flying everywhere, and this is oil and that's transmission, so we don't need that being contaminated. So glad I thought about that. Thanks for helping me think of that. That would have been a bad mistake. So cool. Look at that. It looks good. So yeah, excited, making progress. So I'm going to go ahead and put the fans in here, see how they fit, and go from there. Then we can went ahead and put the 180 degree thermostat back in. We were using the old one from Myles, the 187, something like that, the original that was in there. But like we said over and over again, going to try to find that part that fell down. I got a screwdriver hiding in there too. I got to find that. But anyways, enough yakking. So, yeah, we're trying to go for make it a dependable road tripper. Got some ideas, traveling and so forth. You want to take it on, so trying to make sure we got everything working correctly and stock as possible. So, making progress. Let me slide the fans in here and see what they look like. Alrighty, so we're still playing with the fitment. Couple little issues. I think that might be a little bit too much gap for the radiator. If we press it all the way in, you got about a 1/2 inch gap in between the shroud and the radiator tank there. So you remember, this is a aftermarket radiator, so there's supposed to be, these fans are direct fit, and I checked them on there. There was maybe about an 1/8 inch gap in between the tanks on both sides. So a gap is okay, but probably not as much as we've got right here. So I'm gonna try to figure out what will be the best fix for that. I don't know if I need to just trim this foot right here, and if that'll pull it in. So I'm gonna think about it and see what'll be the best fit. I'm thinking about just trimming that ear off, since it has feet in the bottom of the tray and then bolts here. That's probably all it would really need. And then, but just thinking about it still, we'll see what happens. All right, everybody, got Myles back together. We ran him for a little while, took a few mile drive, and I think it seems to be working out really good. There's our temperatures. So 183 for the transmission, 177 for coolant, and drove around, felt good. We didn't get in a lot of you know, stop and go traffic, but it seemed to be functioning right. I went ahead and put the 180 Motorrad thermostat back in. Let's see here. Let's see, right now, just sitting, the fans are off. If you look real close, they're not even running. So pressure is good here. We got it up to our level there, and I ran it a little bit longer this time with the cap off, just letting the thermostat open a couple times here and there, just to, you know, cycle out the air and all that. But yeah, fans just kicked back on. There's a lot of flow. I mean, you can feel the effects of those fans right here. And I told you before, I had wired up the smaller ones a little bit differently, so one was pushing this way, so they're both pulling now correctly. So I think it's working correctly, if I use that word enough. Really enjoying the aero force gauge with all these little details. That's helping out. But I think that issue's fixed. For now, we'll drive it around tomorrow, go to church, so forth. I'm looking at, I got some new wheels I'm looking at, so I got a few miles to drive for that. But yeah, you guys see the fans just cut off again. Oh, that is too cool. One thing neat too was the fans have a built-in grooves for the oil cooler lines. One groove here and then one groove down at the bottom. So going with the stock fans is definitely a must for this swap. And this gap here on that's hot. The gap around the radiator I don't think is an issue so far. So we'll keep you posted. But at the moment, I don't think that's an issue on these. Like I said, there did seem to be like an 1/8 gap on the stock radiator. So, but yeah, I think we might have it fixed. I don't want to say anything and you know, gonna not be fixed, but for right now I think it's working correctly. So, but we will keep you updated. Be sure that if we find out that it's not working right, we're gonna let you know. We will let you know. So yep, there we go. 181, 185. Those fans are probably gonna kick on. Yep, there they are. That is cool. Yeah, so once it hits about 185, the fans kick on. That is sweet, man. So if you're cruising down the road really well, doing the interstate, your fans may not even be working at all, which is going to be less drag on the alternator. You know, giving you incremental upgrades in the fuel mileage too. So, all right. If you're going to do an E-fan swap on your early GMT 800, go with the original fans. Please take my advice. See, they already shut off. Take my advice, and please, I failed, I messed up, it took me extra work to do it. Go with the OEM fans. These are, you know, eBay special. They're not real expensive, but it's the same design. So, you know, for your ride, please, I'm begging you. Yeah, see, 179, 179. So see, we're even bringing down the temperature on the transmission fluid too. Obviously, we're not driving, but you know, all that is a factor. So cool. Thanks for watching. We have success today. we'll talk at you later.